Oh, the knife, man.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
What's up? I'm not gonna say that bad word.
Hey, sweet. What's up, baby? Oh, I'm already at the end of the other one. Sorry. It's Sucio
The creep.
Miggy
from EP Culture Beats.
El Paso Culture Beat, EP Culture Beat.
We should call you Beats.
They send me beats.
That's what we Beats.
Anyways,
No, yeah.
welcome to Game
Game Trap.
Trap. We're going to be doing a little bit of an extra situation just because we know you guys love the Game Traps. We're trying to bring you some stuff. But before everything, we want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed, who's been coming out. So we're going to give you a chunk. We're going to break you off of some of our little treasures. All you got to do is like, subscribe, and share. And we're going to be giving away. We're going to do a giveaway. Just share the things. Give us a subscribe. These two are from my collection. This man's going to give up a big chunk of his collection, actually. What were you doing first? This one, huh?
Yeah.
That one works, baby. That one works.
It works, believe me.
That one works and it looks dope.
And it's another type of game, I guess.
Anyways, we're gonna be doing a giveaway. Go ahead and share and subscribe. You probably heard us say this 5 or 6 times at this point, just because we've been doing it on every episode.
We're doing 3 giveaways.
Yeah.
Because everybody's gonna think they're gonna get all this stuff.
No, it's 3 different giveaways.
The Pops, the Centipede, and the Walking Dead.
That's
Yahtzee.
a lot of giveaways.
And how?
Wow,
Anyways, but
Well,
yeah,
guys.
I just want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your nice comments. Thank you for your nonsense little comments that I don't really want to talk about. You know who you are, and you know where I live. So come on through.
You can talk shit. It's
Yeah, come
fine.
on.
It's fine.
I still love you.
So, anyways, with that said, we're gonna do some games right now.
We're gonna do a little game trap with a long-standing series that had its ups and downs. Now I think it's back on course. I think a lot of people really do love
Like
this.
more downs than ups.
No, I don't know. Okay, we'll talk about it in a quick second.
So Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, classic of classics. You know, you talk about the beginning of survivor horror really stepping into the mainstream
Oh, I was gonna
and
say, 'cause that's
becoming
not the beginning. I have the beginning of Survivor Horror.
well, becoming accessible to people with a very, scary mansion in the woods that turns out to be scientists making evil weapons.
Can you see that Sweet Home in there?
Where is he? Oh yeah.
That one is the first time where you see the door, the whole loading door kind of thing. It's a game called Sweet Home, and it only came out in Japan. And it was made by the guy that made Resident Evil, actually,
Whoa.
for Nintendo.
Sam Raimi? Oh no, you're talking about.
That's Evil Dead.
Sorry, it's 3 in the morning.
You got a lot of sugar too. No, but that game.
This is where the link pops up for the snack trap.
But that game, for the unbox strap, that game was the beginning of Resident Evil, you could say, because it was fairly unknown, but because it only came out in Japan because it's from a Japanese movie. It's a licensed game for a Japanese movie
Cool.
called Sweet Home.
And obviously, this man got the inspiration for these things from Night Trap. What was it, Sega CD?
It was Sega CD, yeah, I think
A Sega
it was.
CD, also survival horror. You got into weirder stuff coming down the line. I think you go into the history, Manic Mansion, you go past all these things where you don't really have a lot of weapons, you don't really have a lot of, special powers. You're just trying to survive the night.
Well, in the first one, which he can talk a little bit about.
A little bit.
A little bit, but I don't know if you remember that the difficulty setting for that one is basically you're Chris Redfield or you're Jill Valentine.
I remember then.
Chris Redfield has like
Two
a
extra
gun with
weapons.
like one
Yeah,
clip
I
or
remember
whatever.
they have pistols, right? They got pistols, and like Sucio said, you're like trying to survive. You're pretty much trying to survive. Like.
Do
a
you
scary
remember the
night.
original beginning of that? That it used to be like.
Wasn't it?
I'm still shaky from
wasn't
that
it
voodoo.
fucked up from something about like they're in a lab.
No,
Am
no.
I thinking
It
about-
starts
am I
where
thinking
they're
about the
outside
movies?
of the. They're outside of the mansion, and like,
Outside of the
the zombie
mansion.
dogs are like
There's
chasing
a bunch
them.
of.
And they're like shooting, but it was like with actual actors, and they were
Yeah,
really
yeah.
bad.
Alpha Team is flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we're searching for the helicopter of our compatriots Bravo Team, who disappeared during the middle of our mission.
Found it?
No, I haven't found it yet. Bizarre murder cases have recently occurred in Raccoon City. There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people. Victims were apparently eaten. Bravo Team went to the hideout of the group and disappeared.
Look, Chris!
It was Bravo Team's helicopter. Nobody was in it. But strangely, most of the equipment was still there. However, we soon discovered why.
Hey! Come here!
Joseph!
No! Don't go! Jill, run for that house!
Chris Redfield. Jill Valentine. Barry Burton. Rebecca Chambers. Albert Wesker. Resident Evil.
It was, and they
was real
removed that
people.
one for the director's cut.
Why?
Because it was terrible. I mean, I love it.
It was
I,
probably very terrifying.
It was good enough.
I'm
I
gonna
guess.
put it right here so you guys can see it. But it used to be Jill Valentine.
All the commercials used to be nothing but live actions. Remember, including like Nemesis.
well,
Those were live actions.
every time I saw that beginning, like it got me pumped up to play the game, and then I started
And
playing the
it-
game, and I was too scared, so I wouldn't even play the game because I was too scared of.
Well,
stupid.
that's the thing. Don't you have to find like a flashlight? Like, can't you like? Isn't it possible to lose your flashlight and you're just completely in the dark at some point in one of these games?
I was like, maybe that's Silent Hill.
No, I think that's actually 6. You're getting way too far ahead. Level 1, you know,
Shut up.
game 1. You're in the woods. You're in an evil mansion. You discover that it's a corporation doing experiments. Obviously, everything grows from there. To me,
You're a member of Stars.
stars. To me, the watershed moment of Resident Evil, because yeah, the first one was cool, but it was still kind of like whatever. What are you gonna do? What's your next thing? They came out Resident Evil 2. They had the 2 discs. They had 4 different story endings.
They
You
had
had the
Leonardo
extra
DiCaprio.
bonus.
No, it wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, well, that's later. That's later on.
No, but it looked like him, dude.
Well, yeah, he was in that one.
It looked like it, but it was.
That's my boy Leon Kennedy. I've
Leon
been-
Kennedy.
been trying to get your haircut since 1998, but anyways,
The beginning of that one is cool too.
I think that one really did a great job expanding that universe instead of just being a
Whereas-
game where somebody was in the woods and fought a bunch of monsters.
Whereas
like
Claire Redfield trying to find her
her
brother.
brother after the whole incident with Umbrella, you know, everything that's grown out of this, the movies or whatever. I feel 2 was the beginning of it being what it is now. You know,
And then-
what we know as Resident Evil now.
And then the real Resident Evil 3, which I know was Nemesis, but the real one was Code Veronica.
Yeah, Code Veronica, that's actually one of the best, if not the best entry of the series itself because of the story. They had upgraded everything. This was the beginning of, was it Dreamcast, right?
Yeah,
It was one of the best
Dreamcast.
games on Dreamcast. It had a lot of expansion to the storyline again. And I feel like when it did that, you know, we went right into 4. Well, we went to
No,
Nemesis,
Nemesis 3.
and then we did 4. But I feel like Code Veronica was the end of, let's say, classic Resident Evil because everything after that had to be upping
Action.
itself,
It was more action oriented.
Yeah, into 5 and 6, those were just
Super actiony.
super action. You had
Did these games keep getting more and more gorier?
No, I think they keep getting more just like
4.
like the movies, kind of like just over the top.
I think 4 became like Splatterhouse, where it's like, you know, you were in like these old places, old mansions, and everything was kind of getting real gross, but not demony. It wasn't like Silent Hill, where Silent Hill was an actual hell dimension or whatever. But,
Well,
you know,
and you know they had the whole Wesker like story where Wesker was like the bad guy from the beginning, I guess.
yeah.
But he kept like coming up and coming up and coming up, like.
By the
never
end of it,
go
he
away.
was like a dinosaur, and it was really stupid. You know, like the games really started falling down around 5. But we'll talk about that in a second. You
But
know,
yeah.
let's just get real. If you're gonna play Resident Evil, you play 2, you play Code Veronica, you play 4, and you play 7, and everything else is for
And you play the Resident Evil 2 remake.
yeah. You
That
get-
one's really good.
Isn't everything getting remade for Resident
No,
Evil?
but that one's not remade like
They
that.
call it
the
remastered.
recent remake.
But it's not like the same game exactly because
Mm.
it changed. Like you're not running into a room and like it changes the camera angles. Not anymore. So it's made more like the other one.
I think it's made more like Biohazard, right?
But it looks and it plays way better
Mm.
than the actual 2. So you can actually go from like the first PlayStation 1 to number 2, the remake,
Okay.
because it's badass. And then Resident Evil 4 was amazing for GameCube. That's the one that like everybody was like, oh, and they remade that too for Xbox, PlayStation 4, and all that.
Now, Resident Evil, with such a deep history, also has some of the shittiest games.
Survivor.
Survivor may be one of the worst experiences of all time.
It's a light gun game.
First person shooter, you really have to move the cameras like this. It looks like it's
on
Doom.
rails, no?
It's a Doom clone.
That's what I was thinking of. Doom.
But really what it was is that you started at the beginning of the game and you had 3 doors, right? And one door was locked because you had to pass the game and get a special key for it.
No, yeah, that's right.
Then it was the left door, which was the easy mode, and then right door, which was considering the hard mode. So as you kept going down these doors, you fissured off into this weird map, right? And every map was randomly generated. You didn't know what was going to be there. It was just going to be a higher level of difficulty. So let's say you kept going right, you were going to be bumping into bosses within the first 2 or 3 stages, and you had to kill those characters to get the keys off their body
It's 'cause there's
and
an-
open the next one.
There's an actual arcade game of the Survivor, actually. That's where they got it from. But they remade it for PlayStation, I guess.
And it became some of the,
Which it wasn't good.
a
enough.
real horror. That's a real
We
terrible
forgot to
situation.
mention another one that's like really good that everybody just overlooks. It's called Revelations.
Zero?
And it came out in episodes for the DS, for the 3DS. But they remade it for like big consoles. But that one's really good.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I played Zero, and Zero was a really interesting adage with
Yeah, they
Rebecca Chambers
they
and all the
released that
stuff that
one
happened
on-
way before that. Like, that was a really good
on
one.
GameCube.
And then there was Outbreak. Now, I remember Outbreak being one of the first games advertised on PlayStation 2 as fully cooperative, like 10-player, 12-player, interactive multiplayer. And you're talking like 2002 or 1, and this is before SOCOM, this is before everybody started coming out with their multiplayers. And I remember playing Outbreak and being like, wow, like, it's really cool that you could just team up with people on the other side of the world, because I was, you know, before what we have now, where it's everybody's playing 100, 1v100. It's like you couldn't do that. It was very select games, and Outbreak was one of the first ones. Although a really bad game, it wasn't necessarily good because like if you could play as a zombie, you could play as a mercenary, you could play as a STARS member.
So if you want to play something better than that, Left 4 Dead was way better than that.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead was better, but I just remember that feeling of, oh man, we're all gonna fight, we're all gonna play as zombies versus one guy. So you had a whole room, like I think it was 9, it was 7 or 9, where you had a whole like 8 people going after this one guy, and he has this little pistol, and if it was your turn and you were the one guy, it was scary, it was completely horrifying because you knew that it was 8 people talking to themselves on the mics versus one guy who's just like, oh no, what am I gonna do?
How many
Anyways,
Resident Evil games are there?
There's a lot. You're forgetting another one, Raccoon City Stories. Which is like about the cops, and it's dumb as shit. Don't play that.
That's a pretty bad one.
That was for Xbox 360, like PlayStation 2, I think.
You know what I did play too? I played one for mobile. A mobile, like I think it was Nokia.
Well, there's one for Game Boy Color, dude.
Is that the one on the boat? Because I played one on the boat.
2. No, it's Resident Evil. I think it's 2 or 3, but it's on Game Boy Color. It was weird, man. It's the same controls and everything, but it's all pixelated.
Well,
there's one for Engage, which is the Nokia one.
Is that? I think I might have played. I don't know.
That one's really bad.
That one's terrible. I remember you play as Chris Redfield and you're on a boat, and it's all nothing but hunters.
It may be that one.
Chimeras.
Resident Evil, it has like they've really milked the shit out of this.
Yeah, they've done it, but
they've gone back to that well so many times.
But now Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, that one's really good. It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Absolutely.
And
it's disgusting. It's gory. It makes you feel. It over encumbers you with the dustiness, the mold, the complete lack of privacy. You'll be sitting in a room.
It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
People eating each other.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, you're having a revolting situation that you have to survive, and then at the same time, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And
the way that you approach the fights too with the family members, they could go either way. So like, there's one part where you grab a car and you're trying to battle like one of these guys, and
so you're fighting a family of freaks.
Yeah, but you can either kill the guy like by running into him, or you can like the other way where he gets into the car. So it's like almost different paths. It all ends up into the same ending.
You have multiple ways to kill every boss. You have multiple ways to talk your way out of some of the.
It's like you're living a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie for real. So it has all the family of Hicks. They're a little bit more supernatural than in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I would say. Like they're more like witches and like things like that. But that game is like really good. That's what brought everybody back into like, whoa, Resident Evil is coming back.
Yeah, I think really it's. Resident Evil had to take a step forward, say, okay, we can't do rail guns, we can't do that. We have to remake 2 because it's one of the best, and we have to use that system to bring up a new chapter because we got into cults and we got into weird monsters, and it was just nothing but
Nemesis getting bigger and
5
bigger.
and 6. Yeah, like, 5 and 6 were just nothing but.
It's like in Jurassic World where
that's what it was.
The T-Rex was like the top, and now it's like this like. Alligator.
There's a T-Rex mixed with a man.
T-Rex plus.
I know, it's like an Aliens, huh? The one that's
that's for Resurrection.
The human and the.
We don't talk about Resurrection.
That one's gross.
An alien is like.
If you see the original screenshots for the alien in Resurrection, the clone, it has a giant vagina, and it's like a vagina penis.
I would have seen that. I'm just kidding.
And I was like, okay.
Hey, I'm curious.
So, what would you guys consider to be the best one? I keep hearing Resident Evil 2.
7.
7 is great right now. 2 is the moment where I think the story and everything was set up for everything else.
I think overall, like, really playing it, like 7, you could play every Halloween, and it's like.
I feel like 4 is a game.
It could be a tradition.
4 is almost like a timeless piece right now because it. The controls are great, the story is great, you have an intricate system where you can fight, you can dodge, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, you have instant kills, you have to have quick time moments where it's like a little bit before God of War was doing that, where every other game was press R1 and L1 to jump, press back and forward, and you had to have like a knife fight.
Resident Evil 4.
I feel like 4 was the first one that really did that well and was
the one that's in Spain. Everybody's just like all the zombies.
Mátalos.
Yeah. they're not like really zombies. I think they're like possessed.
They're
or something.
plagas.
Yeah,
They're like invasion. It's more invasion of the body snatchers with like a weird metamorphosis. These people are becoming very gross creatures.
the only part that I would say that I don't like about Resident Evil 4 is the mission where you have to be guarding the little girl, and that's
the whole game.
That sucks. No, it's a little part of it only, where you have the little girl and like you tell her to wait in rooms and like stuff like that, but like the zombies can like take her or whatever. I don't know. You're like babysitting for
a big
part
chunk of
that
the
game.
game is trying to protect her.
Here, little girl. Man, get the hell out.
No,
of
she's
here.
not little. She's like a 18-year-old
Nah, I don't
president's daughter.
She should have died.
Child endangerment.
She should have died. No.
And then Ada comes back. I feel like, Leon, Ada, and Wesker are the three main characters of Resident Evil at this point. And after playing 7, I really want to know what's going to happen with the series. I'm really looking forward to the next bunch of stuff. I'm glad that the movies are over. Did anybody go to the movies?
Yeah, I did it. Well, I went to some.
I saw every single Resident Evil movie in the theater.
Hey, I like Resident
Why?
Evil. Wait. I like the
Why?
Resident Evil movies if they weren't called Resident Evil.
If they were their own thing, it would be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know why they call them Resident Evil, because the only thing that has Resident Evil are like zombies and the Umbrella
That's it.
Corporation.
But by the end, it's like the world got extinguished, and then Alice has
Michelle Rodriguez is like
special
dying
care.
and shit.
No, she's a clone. There's all these clones. Everybody's clones, and they're all clones within different
They should have just called it something else.
peaceful
man.
scenarios.
What's her name? Jovovich?
Mila Jovovich.
Mila
Mila Jovovich.
She's really good, man. I really like her. I like her in Fifth Element. My
She
favorite,
has like
probably.
3
I liked her in
expressions. She has like 3 expressions.
Ultraviolet was
almost.
good. She's a great action star. I just don't think they just went into that as a fun little movie.
And she married the director. So.
and divorced
is that
him
what
probably.
happened?
Yeah, that's why do you think they keep making those shit? We gotta eat.
Let's just go, baby. Let's go.
She needs her Count Chocula.
Hey,
dude.
but that
Come
shit
on.
is hard, right? She is a good action star. Right?
Hey, at least they've stayed married, not like Kate Beckinsale and this other guy too. That
The
got married.
Underworld?
Yeah.
Underworld fucked up.
I love
Underworld was terrible.
Was there 3 or 4 of those?
There was
No,
4 now.
I think there's like
4 or 5 now.
I think there's 5.
Yeah.
But I like the first 3. They're
I
cool.
like the first one.
They're
The
cool.
second one was
They're cool action movies. It's because that's all they are. I think they're like mindless action movies. You
I
don't
like
need to
mindless
be-
action movies,
You
but
can
some
watch
action
them at, like,
movies
any
are too
point.
mindless.
Okay, so favorite and worst and not
Movie.
least favorite.
Resident Evil. Right?
Not for the games.
Oh, for the
fuck,
games?
fuck the movies. I don't care.
Alright, the movie suck.
What's your favorite game? And then what's your least favorite game?
I'm gonna give Code Veronica my top spot because really, that whole story in Nosferatu, the twins, the idea of, the G virus and the T virus and all those viruses
ABCD
being their own
virus.
strays. I really enjoyed what they set up for the rest of the game. I'm gonna give that my top spot. My least favorite spot, I'm gonna say, is 6. 6 is really where the
one where the
series
six
died.
is like this guy blowing the other.
Yeah, I think so. It's like a worm blowing himself. But yeah, I think that one really fell off. It had, it tried to do 4 different stories. It tried to add all these people. It tried to make all these things, and it just fell off so quickly. It was boring. It had nothing special about it. You tried to save. They tried to save itself, and it really fell off the mark because it was just repetitious, over and over. The same thing. I'm glad 7 came through and saved the whole system, saved the whole franchise. That's me.
So my favorite is 7. I
Okay.
said it already like a bunch of times. Because it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a movie. It feels like you're playing a movie. You're in the movie. And it's pretty long. It's not even that short. And like I said, you can replay it every Halloween. Just because it gives you those creepy vibes. Even if you know the game, it's still a little hard because it still gives you limited amount of like bullets, of like all these things that you need to manage, which is cool. There's like stealth pieces where like you're trying to escape from this huge guy that looks like Leatherface, and you're kind of like tiptoeing around him so that he doesn't see you, because as soon as he sees you, you need to run and hide. It's kind of like Outlast in that way.
Okay.
But I think this one has better production and it looks way better. And my least favorite, I'm thinking about the Raccoon City Stories or whatever. That game is just crap. You're supposed to be this like Raccoon City like SWAT team cop or whatever, and
Crap name.
and
Crap game.
all you're trying to do is like survive like waves of zombies. I think it came out they did that because of the whole Gears of War. You know how they started with the waves of zombies coming in or waves of monsters. It's kind of what they wanted to do, but it's crap. Like it has the worst controls. It has the worst graphics. It's just shit. Just don't play that one. But play all the other ones. And your favorite is 1.
Well, you guys got me interested in Resident Evil 2 and 7, so I'm gonna look those up.
You should
I'm
play
gonna try
'em.
and play them.
You should play them, man.
Yeah.
Right now, probably, especially during Halloween, probably 7 and 2 are like on sale. And 2, I think it came out for like $30 because it's a remake. And
Shameless plug for video game retailers.
yeah, for Best Buy.
Shout out Capcom. Shout out EB Games.
GameStop.
Shout out Funko Land.
Stay rad. But with that said, I guess those are our games.
This is our Resident Evil selection.
Hopefully, we turned you into some cool games.
Yeah, I'm gonna play them.
If I have the shitty games, I'm gonna lend them to you so you can throw them in the trash. But I was like, you be the trash.
10 cents GameStop credit.
So remember to follow us on Instagram, Night Trap Podcast. He'll be taking over because I suck at it.
He doesn't suck, he just doesn't like want
I have to edit and do all this shit.
He does all these other things.
He's gonna be the social media guy.
Yeah, he's gonna be the social media guy. I'm gonna be the editing guy, I guess.
I'm just a guy.
And then he's just the guy. Follow him
But he's our friend.
at EPCULTUREBEAT and
Listen
Facebook,
on-
Instagram, and
Listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc.
He's got all the El Paso culture music stuff. He's always coming through. He just came back from Tucson. He had a bunch of stuff at Hoco Fest.
We got you.
We'll have him for a podcast, for a full podcast, where we can talk about some horror movies that you like, maybe.
Yes.
We can
Evil
talk.
Dead.
We can
Evil
talk some
Dead.
cool stuff. We'll have him back for that. But as for now, let's end it right
Don't forget
here.
to like, subscribe, share.
Oh,
Get your
let me-
entry for our giveaways. It's going to be coming through. You have all of October giving stuff away. Do it now. The more stuff you give out, the more shares you give out, the more likes you give out, the more entries you get.
Shout out to this guy because he brought me this.
Ooh.
New York Comic Con came through this year. Everybody had something crazy to get. I'm amazed I got everything. I'm amazed I got that. This was the top of my list.
Yeah, this one's bad.
This is the first actual killer clown out of the whole entire line. They haven't made any more. So if you see one of these lying around,
I want the fat one. This is lame.
I want the I want the little one. I want
the one that puts the
I
cherry
want
on
tiny. I really want tiny. I think that's gonna be a cool line.
Let me give you tiny right here.
Oh, válgame. I say we got demonetized.
No, but with that said, we'll be back. You should watch Killer Clowns like recent, like
I will.
refresh it. We can talk about it.
We're gonna talk about it.
All right. So with that said, we'll see you next time.
Stay sweet, don't
Later,
change,
guys.
baby. Have a great summer. Keep in touch.